Yo, check. This on. What's happening? What's happening? Official J Dash. What's going down? Let me know if you guys could hear me. I'm not sure if this microphone's charged up. That's why. Kathleen, what's going down? Warren D. Trio Click, what's going on? Cool. Yeah, we good, man. We live and we good. What's happening? Cali, what's going down? MM Customs, what's happening, man? Was you at the J Book show the other day with Damian Marley and Stephen Marley? Loud and clear. Appreciate that. Good. Appreciate it. Glenn, off a day. What's happening? Yeah, you know how it goes, man. Regular Tuesday live session. This one right here is I do this every Tuesday, 7 o'clock LA time, Pacific Standard Time. This one lives on YouTube. So if you got questions, man, shoot them out. We could get this thing rolling. I wasn't on here last week. I was out of town. So I had to get on here and get it with you guys today. This is what's happening, man. We didn't make it. Did you go? Nah, I didn't get a chance to make it. A lot of my homies were over there. I seen the videos and stuff like that, but yeah, I didn't get a chance to make it. You know what was kind of a sad and was a letdown for me was I seen a couple videos of Big Body Cisco and all them. They was doing like a Fiji tribute before J Book came on or something like that. They was playing his songs. They were shouting them out and stuff like that, and the crowd looked dead, man. Like the seats were packed because the view I seen was from like at the top of Hollywood Bowl, but it just looked like everybody was having conversations and nobody was actually like into it. And I was like, oh man, it's kind of whack. But outside of that, yeah, we didn't get a chance to make it over there. Whenever you're going live, do you use your phone or your computer? I'm on my computer, so I'm on my MacBook Pro. I use these little microphones. I don't even know who makes this, Ulanzi or something. I can't even remember who makes these little microphones, but cheap little Amazon microphones. These are like the little ones that, I got one right here. It's like this, and then it has like a magnet so you could clip it onto your shirt or whatever. Holo Holo's out in San Diego in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's right. The homies is gonna be out there. They was trying to get me to vend the homies Tone from Island Armor. Ninth Island's gonna be out there. All the homies are gonna be out there vending. We was just vending at Whole Outlet and they was talking about it. Let me see. My show went crazy. Oh, that's right. Your show was this past weekend or the weekend before. That's right. The layout, everything worked out for you. Red Vent, what's that name? I won't be at Holo Holo. I can't make it to the San Diego one. I'm trying to get out to the Irvine one though. That one's November. Can't remember when in November. I think it's early November though. Michael, what's happening? How about the expo this week? I won't be there at the expo this week. I'll be out of town again. So the homie G6 Customs Tom, he's gonna be trying to organizing like a little meet and greet with all the people. Just get everybody together, get a chance to network and stuff like that. So he'll be out there though. I won't be able to make it to GPX. Yeah, anybody going to GPX? That's the Graphics Pro Expo going down in Long Beach this weekend coming up. I think it's like the 20th or 21st, 22nd, 23rd, or 21st, 22nd, something like that. Stevie Steve, thank you for the help throughout the years, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching throughout the years. My friend them is at the Magic Show convention. That's right. Magic's going on. GPX is going on this weekend. A lot of dope stuff happening. What makes the screen printing stencils you use different from DTF? So DTF is just a digitally printed transfer. It gets printed off a roll. You send a roll of film through. There's a print head that just goes back and forth, and it's just printing like your standard regular printer that you have at home, right? The process is just laying down ink each pass. The transfers that I use are screen printed. So with screen printed transfers, it's the same as screen printing directly on a t-shirt. You're burning the screen, you're flooding the screen with ink, and then you're pushing the ink through the screen onto the transfer paper. So instead of printing directly on a shirt, it's screen printing onto a transfer sheet, film, paper transfer, whatever it is. And then the only difference is the curing process. You're curing it with the heat press instead of with like a conveyor belt drying oven. So the big difference for myself is DTF is full digital. You've probably seen the videos where it gets printed, then it goes through like a little shaker tray that shakes the adhesive powder onto it, and then it goes through like a little oven area and then cooks it onto the roll. Then it gets sent to you and you cut them out and put them on. Um, I use screen printed transfers. It's just a preference thing. For me, I find that the screen printed transfers are a little bit more durable. I like the quality of those better, but once again, it's a personal preference thing. It's not like what I say is the law. It's just what I prefer to use. You know what I mean? So that's why I use screen printed transfers like Super Color Wearable. That's a screen printed transfer, multicolor screen printed transfer. I'll use things like FM Expressions. I'll use them. I'll use 613 Originals. I'll use Howard if I have to. I'll use Transfer Express, Goof Proof, or Hot Split. Just to me, screen printed transfers is just something that I came up using and I always use them. I've tried everything else and I always go back to the tried and true stuff. So that's basically anything that you buy retail from me, like on my online store or in my retail store. It's all printed with screen printed transfers. Everything in there is. Let me see. How do we find out about the meetup with G6 Customs? Follow him on Instagram, G6 Customs. He might be in here. He might pop on here. But if you look up G6 Customs on Instagram, he posts a bunch of stuff. I think he's on Facebook also. But he'll be organizing just because what we did last time for the Impressions Expo, whoever was there, is we just got a bunch of people together to hang out kind of like in the lobby or offside of the lobby to give everybody a chance to talk about what they do, meet a bunch of different people in the same space as them, exchange numbers, contact information, stuff like that. You meet all kind of different people there. The cool thing with when we did it at the Impressions Expo is, you know, we had people from different companies there that came out and got a chance to talk to the people and actually talk to the actual people that use their products and stuff like that. So it's cool. So G6 is trying to get something like that going for this event for the Graphics Pro Expo. And like I said, just a good place to network and talk to like-minded people and just kind of, you know, when we go to these shows, usually when we go, we're just kind of in our own minds, right? We're walking through, we're doing our thing, doing our research, touching things, and you don't know the person that's bumping elbows with you or that's right next to you in that same booth might be, you know, going through the same issues that you're going through with your business or starting just like you are, or maybe they're seasoned veterans and they've been in the game for a long time. You have no idea until you actually meet them. So what Tom from G6 Customs is really big on is the networking part. Like I was there when he won his first big Mamaki sticker printer, and we was just hanging out. Me, Rye Beats, I think Stan from T-Shirt Side Hustle. There's a few of us that we were just hanging out in front of this. I can't even remember the name of the booth. Not Printing United, Printer Supply Warehouse. They were raffling off this big ass Mamaki printer. We all had our names in there, and Tom was the one that won. And I would have never known Tom was into that kind of stuff if it wasn't for meeting him and his wife. And then, like I said, got a chance to meet a bunch of other people. So ever since then, Tom's been trying to get this going every single expo or trade show he goes to because it's dope to meet other people, you know. Then find out like, oh man, like man, you're in the same city as me, or you're from the same area as me, and you know, sometimes like he makes stickers, and maybe you might do something a little bit different that you could help his business, and both you guys work it out. You know what I mean? Heading out on Saturday. I think he's going to be there all weekend too, or Thursday to Saturday. I think going to hit the Irvine show. Yeah, that's the one I'm planning on going to. A couple weeks ago, I asked about using canvas as a cover when pressing. Quick update: I've been doing it, and it definitely helps to give texture and reduce the plastic type feel bit. There you go. So, what Kelly's talking about is like the post press using canvas and different things to add a little bit of texture to, like if you're using DTF. The post press, you hit it with that right after you press, and then it's giving him different texture. You might see people use like sandpaper or grip tape. um there's a bunch of different things. Some people use like these fiberglass sheets. Whatever you do to like really help out your print to get it to the way you want it to look, man, you go for that shit. And obviously he asked me if I tried it. I never used canvas, and he tried the shit out and it works for him. So that's dope to hear. What usually goes on in the magic show is the vendors. Magic's usually like showcase, right? So it's a lot of brands, they bring their stuff there, and they show what, what their future lines are going to look like, what the capsules look like and stuff like that. So they're trying to get buyers to buy. So you'll have people from like PacSun, Zoomies, and stuff like that walking around looking to buy from them. um I used to go there thinking that was the place to be, like long time ago when this show first started cracking off, man. All the streetwear brands used to go out there, so I used to just go and just kind of guerrilla market my way around, but I was just wasting my time. I really wasn't like, I was just trying to be in the mix, but I didn't have a booth or nothing like that. And those booths cost a lot to get a booth there. But you got to be ready with your line sheets and ready for a buyer to come in and want to buy some of your stuff to put in their stores. You know what I mean? Stevie Steve, I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. What about ninja transfers for DTF? I know nothing about ninja transfers. I never used them. I seen them at the trade show. They had like a little ninja mascot out there dancing around and stuff, but I've never used them. How would you store your transfers in a humid environment? I plan on moving my work area to my garage. That's why. Ziploc bags, and then you got to put those little gel packets in there, like the desiccant packets or silica packets, whatever you call them, that eliminate moisture. They usually come with your transfers. I know Supercolor always ships them with those. You can find them in your shoe boxes. You could buy them on Amazon. You could buy like a bag of them, like hundreds of them, and I would just throw them in there. That way, it'll eliminate the moisture in there, so the humidity won't mess up your transfers, and you'll be good. But Ziploc bags, close them up with the little gel packet in there. G that the big B. I'm down. Compound tuning in from Kalihi. What's happening? So my wife's from, man. Shout out Kalihi. A lot of the homies is out there too. Like shout out to the others, Bicycle Club, man. A lot of them's from out there. So there's a printer strictly for stickers. Yes, Kathleen, there are really dope printers out there strictly for stickers. They're printer plotters, so they print and they cut. And they're, they got big ones that are like 52 inches. They got them down to I think 20 inches or 24 inches. Roland has like a little tiny one, BN20 or something like that. They're pretty pricey though. But if you have the market to sell stickers, man, it's a moneymaker. G6, you could ask him, man. Like G6 got his Mamaki, and that dude, that's his business. Like he banging out stickers like crazy. T Lamont, what's happening? G6 Customs is in here. G6, Tom, can you let the people know where they can find you for the meet and greet at the GPX, the Graphics Pro Expo this weekend? Cutie Lash from Shy, what's happening in Chicago? Let me see. Michael's been using a silicone sheet from Ninja Transfers, but the canvas might be a lot more affordable. Yeah, man. So if you guys are looking to like post press on top of your transfers to give it some texture, Callie tried out canvas and shit worked. He said it added some texture, made his prints feel a little bit better. So if you guys wanted to find out what kind of canvas you used, and then try it out for yourself. Finna, Big Brando, I watch your videos every night and learned. Last week, I jumped out and bought a hat and heat press from HPN, and I'm starting to learn. Hell yeah, you gave me the info and courage to start. Thank you. Finna, I'll tell you like this, man. A lot of it is we get as we're trying to start these businesses, right? I fall into this too, even when I'm trying to start new brands and new businesses now, is we kind of get stuck in that like kind of learning situation. Like we're trying to do as much research as possible, but we're second guessing what we're trying to do, and we're trying to convince ourselves shit's going to be a good idea to do. Because sometimes investing in equipment and other businesses, like that shit gets overwhelming, man. Like you just like, damn, should I do this? Am I losing? And then you get into that, like, I got to invest in myself. I got to go for it. Sometimes we already know the answer in our head, but hearing somebody else say it gives us a little bit of validation to reassure ourselves, like, oh yeah, this is a good ass idea. I'm gonna go for this shit. If I could be that voice, dope. You know what I mean? But for myself, like when I get into that same little funk of like I'm going through something right now. I'm working on with a couple homies of opening like a pretty big print shop where we could service everybody. So we could offer embroidery, printing, screen printing, all the shit. You know what I mean? So I'm working on something like that right now. Currently, I'm also working with one of the homies on starting a brand. So all of these things for myself is just like, all right, I'm trying to get all this done, but I'm also trying to finish the ebook. I'm also trying to bring back sample packs. I'm also working on the dope project. Like you guys know the dope project thing. I've been talking about it for a while. So I've got all these things going on. But sometimes it's like hearing one person say, like, yeah, you know what, you should get that shit done, or you should go do that shit. Boom, that shit just clicks and you fucking go for it. So, shout out to you for watching, but good luck with whatever you're doing. There's a ton of good, useful information on my channel. I'm pretty sure you might be aware of that already. And these live sessions right here are for people like you. You know what I mean? Like if you have questions going through your business and you need some help with anything, jump on these every Tuesday night, man, and ask every question under the sun. And if I could help you, I will. You know what I mean? I do this shit for you guys. So I appreciate you for watching, man, and good luck with your business, man. Congrats on all the new equipment too. That's dope as hell. Callie said he just got canvas for a couple bucks, man, from Hobby Lobby. There you go. Posting up in the lobby next to the Hyatt in front of the little coffee shop in the convention center. There you go, man. Let them know what days you posting up and all that stuff. G6 Customs, let them know because there sounds like there's a few people that are interested in meeting up. Letitia from Baltimore, what's happening? You're gonna upgrade to the new press from Heat Press Nation. I want the dual station true spec. That's the one that I want. I just need to make some room for that shit in my shop. And like I said, I got a bunch of other shit. Like we working on starting a bigger print shop and stuff like that to service a bunch of people. So I'm trying to see what's the best, what would be the best fit. You know what I mean? That's the plan. That's the plan. Let me see. Ninja Transfers is affordable, but their customer service sucks. Damn, that sucks. They messed up my print twice. I spent 45 minutes on the phone. They admitted it was their fault. Still wouldn't even give a discount. Hey, that's tough. That's tough. Let me see. I only use slippers. I don't get those gel packets. That's right. You could buy them on Amazon, man. Get the small ones though. Like you could get them like big, so you could put them in like your gun safe to keep bullets, keep the humidity out. But then if you get the small ones, you can find them on Amazon, get a pack of those, and just throw them in there. You know what I mean? Khalid North School Street represent. That's right. More like Chirac. Oh, hell yeah. Let me see. We're planning on Friday at 3:30. We will be there all 3 days. There you go. Christine, what's happening? I need to follow G6 because I placed my first sticker order through Upprinting. Yeah, follow G6 Customs. He makes custom stickers. He posts all the time of the shit he's printing, so you could see. Like I say this all the time about people that want to buy like DTF transfers and stuff like that, and I always talk about people like the T-shirt Buddy and Mike T's from Crispy Prints and Rye Beats and all these guys that print transfers. Um, it's dope when you get to see the inner workings of somebody's shop, right? You could see somebody printing up an order and you could see them maintaining their machines. And to me, that just gives me like a good feeling about that company that they care about the shit that they do. They're giving you an inside look at what they do. So I always choose to go that route with people. G6 Customs is always printing stickers. He's showing the stuff that he's working on. He's tagging the people he's working with, printing for, stuff like that. So it's dope to see that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for custom stickers, G6 is where it's at, man. Florida checking in. That's right. Christine, what's happening? Let me see. Others in chat also love sharing knowledge. Hell yeah. Anytime somebody's down to share, like Cali dropping that he did the canvas thing, um, people sharing information. That's what this shit's all about, man. I want to go live with my pressing shirts, do machine embroidery. Every time I want to start, I get scared. I just have to jump in and go for it. You do. Sometimes you just gotta, a good way to kind of practice, I guess you could say, is instead of going live, just record yourself, right? Set your camera up like you are gonna go live, and do it for like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Just go through the motions, do whatever you're doing, and then rewatch it. And then you can make the minor tweaks, like, oh, the lighting doesn't look good here, or the camera should be a little closer, or whatever it is. But record yourself as practice, and it'll get you comfortable. And then when you're ready to go live, you just go for it. You know what I mean? And it's nerve wracking at first because one, nobody likes to hear themselves speak. Everybody thinks they look weird on camera, and then everybody always is their worst critic. You know what I mean? But I highly recommend everybody to document the journey, share the information, share the knowledge with anybody that's coming up. You know what I mean? I think it's dope, man. Like the kind of small community that we've built over the years. I just had a little notification that said I've been on YouTube for 9 years. That's a long ass time, but we've built so much in those 9 years. Because if you think about it, 9 years ago, wasn't nobody talking about transfers on YouTube whatsoever, especially custom transfers, especially screen printed transfers. DTF wasn't even a thing back then. There was so many people that were against it, but now there's so many people that own heat presses and run their businesses exactly like me. That's dope as hell. It just shows the evolution of the t-shirt industry for one, and the home creator and the home business, that there's people cashing huge checks right now because of that heat press, because of transfers. So it's kind of dope to see where things have gone from where they used to be. You know what I mean? And when I got on, there wasn't a lot of people like myself. There's a handful. T-shirt help desk been around forever. He was like one of the first dudes I seen talking about t-shirts. Everything from like packaging to hang tags to transfers to blank t-shirts, showing different blank t-shirts. He was one of the first dudes I seen on YouTube doing it. There used to be another guy named Cortez Ross or Contez Ross, something like that. He used to make like faith-based t-shirts using stock transfers. So he would get like screen printed transfers that had like stock images on there, and then he would show himself pressing them up and stuff. I think he even started selling courses on how to do it, and that was it. Those are like the only people that were kind of in the space showing what was going on, besides a handful of like screen printers and some people that owned DTG machines at the time. Um, and I was like, man, ain't nobody out here talking about gang sheets. Nobody's talking about custom transfers. Nobody's talking about using transfers for a clothing brand. And I've been doing it all these years, making an ass load of money. I need to tell people about this shit. So that's why I started making videos. And you could see the very first few videos is like the easy shit. How to get your wholesale license, explaining what a gang sheet is. And I didn't even have one to show. Like I was drawing the shit on papers. Like, this is what a gang sheet is, and this is how you pay for it. And I'm telling people, this right here, you pay the print costs. You don't pay per design. And people were flabbergasted because they were like, there ain't no way you're paying $1 for this fucking sheet with 4 different prints on it. I'm like, hell yeah, I am. Like, that's how the shit works. And that's where my channel started to like come up, was nobody was talking about it. Now there's millions of people talking about it. There's channels way bigger than mine. I'm not the one that started this shit, but being on YouTube for the last 9 years and seeing the evolution of how this shit worked, man, when I first started making videos, I was like, I look stupid as hell, or I didn't like the lighting, or I didn't like the camera angle, but I was like, I'm not going to re-record this shit. I'm just going to put this shit up. And then it just came to like a habit of like, I'm just going to post this shit. And 9 years ago, I couldn't even go live on YouTube. YouTube didn't have a live stream thing. So I was like live streaming through Instagram. So, and I was using my personal Instagram. I wasn't even using no like one that was made for t-shirts. Like that Instagram was just my personal one, and I was just live streaming on there. And then it eventually jumped over to YouTube. So you could get over it. I said all that to whoever was talking about wanting to live stream embroidery and stuff like that. But that's how you practice: is you just record yourself like 2, 3, 5 minutes, something like that, rewatch it, and then don't worry about what you look like and stuff like that, but worry about like the lighting on what you're trying to show. If you're trying to show your embroidery machine, make sure the lighting looks good on the embroidery machine, or make sure it's in focus around that. And then that way just your workflow will start happening, you know what I mean? And you don't even got to show your face if you don't want to. You just show your hands working and shit. My name's Shy. Thank you so much for all that you share. How do you decide when you use your own logo inside of shirts, when to leave the original? For myself, if I'm lazy, I leave the one in there. Like one of the brands that I used to run, I don't run this brand no more, but when I used to run this brand, I used to print on Pro Club t-shirts, and printing on Pro Club t-shirts was half the sale for me. Was the people that I was selling to used to wear blank Pro Clubs already. So when they seen that I printed on Pro Club, it was an easy call. They knew their size, they knew how to wash them, they knew everything about a Pro Club. So that helped the sale. So if I cut that tag out, it would have hurt my sales, because when I was out like vending, if I was selling somewhere, people look at the tag like, oh shit, you use Pro Club? Hell yeah, I'm extra large. And it was just an easy call. So that kind of stuff, I left the tag in. When I use like All Style, when I used to use like the 1701s, I used to just rip them out because nobody cared about those, and I'll press my own in. One of my brands, when I was doing, I was using the AS Color Classic shirt a lot. I would leave that tag in, because that tag, before they had rip away, it was hemmed in, like the shit was sewn in. So instead of sitting there trying to cut them, I just left them in, and they didn't even care about it. So it's just, there's no certain timing. Like, oh yeah, you got to put your own in there. You do whatever you feel. Some people like the look of their own tag in there. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people think like, oh, your shit looks cheap if you have the other tag in there. But I'm telling you, when I was using Pro Club t-shirts, like the people wanted Pro Club t-shirts, so I left the tag in because that's what the people wanted. You know what I mean? So you just kind of like go based on what you feel. You want to press your own in. I would highly recommend buying blank t-shirts that have rip away tags to make your life easier. You don't want to have to sit there and cut them out. That sucks. But if you could just rip them out, like pull them out, easy call. Appreciate you, Rav Van. Thanks, brother. Going crazy doing shirts, mugs, sometimes caps. Got me going crazy. T. Lamont, man, it happens to all of us, man. Sometimes we when you're in the shit, like you're really working the shit out. Oh man, your head's spinning. You know what I mean? 100%. I know what that shit's like. The real books, what's happening? Javier, when it comes to making hoodies and tank tops, do you just do all of the same designs as your t-shirts that are already out, or do you make new designs for specific items like hoodies and tanks? Sometimes I make new designs. It all depends. T-shirts are kind of a staple standard in my store, but I also offer hoodies that only have certain designs on those hoodies and not on t-shirts. It just kind of whatever the shit calls out. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily put everything that I put on a t-shirt onto a hoodie, and I don't put everything I put on a hoodie onto a t-shirt. It just all depends. Like I did that brown hoodie, the one that says South Bay. I didn't do brown t-shirts that say South Bay. I just did that brown hoodie. I did it in black also. Yeah, that kind of stuff. It just whatever it calls out for. I don't have like all right, I'm gonna put this on this and this on this. Whatever I feel like when I do tank tops, it's usually like whatever feels right, if that makes sense. I'm just going based off of like what the vibe is like. Like, hey, this shit is cool. I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? Try it out. But yeah, that's usually how it goes. And then like let's say the design does really good, then I'll test it out on a t-shirt. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, I just keep it on the hoodie only. You know what I mean? Douglas, change the game. We'll say I appreciate that, man. Thank you. T-shirt help desk too. Yeah, T-shirt help desk was cool, man. He was like the first dude I seen uh talking t-shirts on YouTube ever. You know what I mean? When I first got on and I was like, is anybody doing this or is anybody talking about this? I would see his videos mainly. And that's when I was like, shit, man, this motherfucker's like, he's killing the shit. Yeah, Cortez Ross, T-shirt riches. That was him, man. That was, like I said, man, it's like 10 years ago. I don't even know if he still makes videos, but that dude was one of the first ones I seen. And he was one of the first ones I seen put a heat press like on a rolly cart. And I was like, oh shit. Like I always had my heat presses on tables and I never trusted no cart. And then I think he was doing like a live seminar or some shit. And he had the shit on a rolly cart. He was knocking down t-shirts. I said, yeah, that's cool as shit. Unfortunately, DTG is almost history now. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't, man. I see some brands that are still killing it with the DTG, man. They just fell into a good thing, you know what I mean? And they're printing like crazy. Actually, I just seen one of the homies, he just bought, I think his second or third DTG printer, like the Big Brother one. The Brother machines, he has, I think, two or three of them now because business is booming for him. It's just whatever you fall into that makes sense to you. That's why I always tell people, like, when you're trying to like get into this business, you kind of have to understand what you're buying the equipment for, right? I just posted a video on Monday, yesterday, talking about before you buy equipment, understand what the business entails and how you're going to make money. But if you have a good business justification for DTG and it makes sense, then by all means, you go for the shit. You know what I mean? Like, you just go for it. To me, it's an expensive thing to get into, but if you have the revenue coming in to back that, fucking go for it. You know what I mean? When you DM us for stickers, make sure you mention Big Brando so we can take care of it. Appreciate that, G6. Everybody that's in here that needs some stickers, hit up G6 Customs, man. Let me see, Big Brando, you are my go-to for information. Thanks for the videos. Not a problem. Positive ID Creations, thanks for watching, for one. But for two, you know what I mean? Thanks for using the information that I talk about for your own business and getting this money. Looking forward to meeting all you in Long Beach. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, follow G6 Customs for the meet and greet stuff at the trade show. If you guys are going to the Graphics Pro Expo, he's going to be organizing a little networking meet and greet, which is dope. The last one we did was a pretty good success at the Impressions Expo. So he's keeping that motherfucker rolling in Long Beach. I've started wearing blank Shaka wear from you. Hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not wearing my own shit and I'm not wearing something that I bought from another creator, I'm wearing blank t-shirts. Like, I wear blank t-shirts all the time. Like, if I'm going to work, if I'm just chilling, washing my car, going to the gym, going for a walk, majority of the time I'm in a blank t-shirt. I just choose to wear certain ones, you know what I mean? But I'm a simple kind of guy when it comes to that kind of shit. You're not gonna see me in no loud, flashy shit. You'll see me in black or white t-shirts mainly. Um, that's about it. Let me see. Does anyone have a template on Google Sheets to keep track of team spirit packs, fundraisers for a high school? Damn, that's a good question. I don't know if anybody has one. I want to say Ride Beats might, but I might be wrong. Um, yeah, I might be wrong. Question: I understand that you profit margins are based on time. Would you say the same on PVC labels on the caps? About to start and not sure how to charge large quantities. Thanks. So you're doing large quantities, or you're ordering PVC labels in large quantities? For me, like I said, it's always material and labor when I do my pricing. If I'm printing for like other people, but if I'm doing it for like retail, like selling to retail, I try to triple my investment. You know what I mean? That's why my pricing, I talk about two different things on my channel, right? Operating like a print shop and then like retail, operating as a brand. Those are two different pricing models. If I'm operating as a print shop, I'm just doing materials, what it costs to make the shit, and what my time is worth. As far as a brand or retail sales, I'm just trying to triple my investment. If it costs me X amount of dollars to create this, I'm trying to triple that. And then I'm always going to be in the profit. Um, so when it comes to like pricing for the PVC stuff, it depends on how much the PVC is, how much the blank hats are, how many you're doing, how long it takes you to, press those on and all that good stuff. How'd you get your practice in on hats? I just started and I bought some auto hats to practice on, but I'm getting a crease on the foam and some others. What's the best way? Whenever you're doing hats, I think you're talking about doing it with a heat press. You got to fill in the gaps. This is what I learned was when I had my first hat press, I noticed that certain hats hug the bottom platen perfect. Like once you put the little tension lever down, that thing was solid on there. So like say if this is the bottom part, like the platen, if your hat is like this and there's like a little bit of a gap in the middle, you're gonna get creasing. But then if your shit hugs it perfect like that, once the tension lever's down, you shouldn't get any creasing. So in order to fill in that gap, what I started doing was I started cutting up mouse pads. You could buy like 10 mouse pads on Amazon for dumb cheap. So I'll cut them up and then I'll put it inside the hat to fill in that gap. So then that way I could get a solid press on it. But I noticed a lot of the creasing happened when it wasn't a solid fit on that bottom platen. And then it's just a pressure game. You know what I mean? It's, having the right amount of pressure. You just got to like kind of tinker with it. So like with foam hats, I usually back the pressure off a lot because that foam, you'll get the little box around the press. Sometimes you might get a little bit of creasing. So I try to fill in the gap either with like rags or mouse pads. I have the one where I have the press where you could remove the bottom platens and use different size platens to fit different size hats. So that eliminates me having to use rags and stuff. If you don't have removable platens, get some rags, fold them up, get some mouse pads, cut them up, anything to fill in the gaps, then you'll be good. Then you just adjust your pressure accordingly. I usually start with the lightest pressure and then I just start to work my way down, increasing it little by little, like half turns, if that quarter of a turn, to get that thing just right. But it takes some practice. So I always order a little bit over, like say if the job I'm doing is like 12 hats, sometimes I'll order 6 over. I'll order 18 hats, 20 hats in case I fuck up on a couple. But it'll give me a chance to like test one or two, dial in my settings, and then I'll start doing the job. Hopefully that helps. Let me see. DTG has its place. Yeah, it does. I see people killing it. I also see people wasting a lot of money on DTG. It is what it is. You got to get Diz to go live doing his glass work. Yeah, man. I tell Diz all the time he should be putting up content like a motherfucker. Diz is like one of them dudes that's kind of secretive about his shit because he don't want to give up all the secrets, but at the same exact time, he does these big conventions where the other vendors are watching what he's doing. So sometimes he likes to keep shit under wraps. But I tell him he need to fucking put up content like a motherfucker because the shit he does is crazy. You know what I mean? I was taught to look at the advantages and disadvantages of each printing technique. I wouldn't go buy a DTG, but utilize a vendor. You can utilize different techniques. Hell yeah. For me, even when it came to embroidery, it was like I was outsourcing embroidery until I seen the need for myself to get my own machine, right? I'm not going to just blindly get into it. Same with DTG, man. Like a lot of you guys don't know this, but I used to have DTG printers in my shops. Even when I was printing from home, I had a DTG printer that you guys couldn't see. I've always been into the shit. It's just not something that I promoted because shit's a headache and shit's expensive. And I understand my audience. I know my audience. If my audience is watching me because they're trying to start a business, the last thing I want to do is try to put them in debt buying into some, equipment and shit like that they know nothing about. So I never even showed that kind of stuff all the way up until I just barely got rid of my DTG printers at my shop. And we had a whole room dedicated to this shit. We had DTF printers, DTG printers. At my old shop, I even showed like a little like converted Epson printer into a DTF printer that printed 11 by 17s. I've been into the shit. It's just being on YouTube, it comes with a responsibility of people watching and then seeing something that I do. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna get into that because this guy's talking about it. And now I put somebody in debt, and now they're stuck with a printer that the print heads is clogging up, and there's no way that I could help them out. You know what I mean? So I never show that kind of stuff. There's a big there's a big space for DTG in the t-shirt community. There's a big space for DTF in the t-shirt community also. It's just you kind of have to understand what you're going to do and what you're using the shit for, right? Like for people that see DTF now, I'm like, I'm going to get into that shit. Are you getting into it because you want to print transfers for yourself, or are you getting into it so you could print transfers for other people? And anytime somebody says like, oh, I'm going to print transfers for other people, I'm like, man, well, how many people do you know with a heat press? And they're like, oh shit, well, just me, but I'm gonna get online and I'm gonna start promoting myself doing. I'm like, man, you're already kind of you're gonna be playing catch up, because if you're trying to get into that business, you got to have an idea on how the money's going to come in, right? If you're just relying on, I'm going to get online and promote the business, it's going to be hard, man. Like it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I am saying when you get into these things and you invest in this equipment, understand how you're going to make the money to pay the shit off. You know what I mean? Like have a plan put in place so you could be like, let me stick to the plan and make this shit happen, because I already thought about who I want to sell to, what I want to do, all this good stuff. And there's people like, I'm going to get a printer, a DTF printer, so I could print my own transfers and sell t-shirts and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, that's a big investment. Like if you're not moving units of t-shirts, you're going to be paying that machine off. Like this shit's going to be coming out your savings. It's not even gonna, you won't be able to sell enough t-shirts to pay the machine off because they cost so much. So it's a hard thing. Like there's a lot of people that hit me up and like, hey, what's up with that X tool printer? I don't know nothing about it. Like I'm not hands-on with it. I've never seen it. I don't know nothing about it, but I see who it's catered towards. My biggest gripe that I have with any small DTF printer, like a home printer, is customer service going to be there to help you when your print heads get clogged up by that white ink? Is there print heads accessible? Are you guys going to be charging 10 times the price of a print head to replace and burying these home businesses? Like that's always my issue, and that's why I've never talked about DTG or DTF printers on my channel, because that's the first thing that goes out is the print heads. That's the worst thing. Running white ink through these things is a nightmare. And you have these companies, and you guys seen some of these DTG companies that are just like raping people on pricing for print heads when the print head costs like $80, $70 to $80, but they're selling the shit for like $1,200. This shit's fucked up. And you just spent damn near 20 grand on a printer, and then your print head goes out 2 months later, and now you have to spend another $1,200 on a print head that's probably going to go out next month again. That shit is crazy to me. That type of business for me, I don't agree with, because majority of us that are buying into this shit are home businesses. Like we're already on a tight budget. We're just trying to get ahead. And we can't get ahead if we're always paying for these machines and the maintenance on these machines and shit like that. So I always recommend people to just, hey, somebody already bought the printer, buy the transfers from that person with that printer, man. Let them have the headache of running that printer. You just worry about selling t-shirts. It makes so much more sense. But some people are kind of nervous about sending their designs to get printed, or they just want the luxury of being able to print from home or something like whatever it is. Sometimes that shit ain't even worth it. Just send the shit out to the big printers, let them print it for you, and you just worry about selling t-shirts. That way your mind isn't all over the place. If you're trying to sell t-shirts, focus on selling t-shirts, not focusing on being the IT guy and the mechanic for your printer, and also having to buy the consumables for the printer and running the printer. And that shit ain't fun. I'll tell you like this, firsthand, this shit ain't fun. So if you're thinking about getting into it, do a lot of research. Plan your shit out. Understand how you're going to make the money to pay the shit off. Same goes for embroidery. Same goes for DTG, DTF, any of that stuff. Understand that right there comes with a hefty price tag, and the shit has to get paid off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not just going to be, just because you buy the machine, just money starts rolling in. That's not how the shit works. What advice can you give us when I know the idea, I have the target, but when I want to give a name to the brand, sometimes I like it Then I try to go with it, and then I feel I need to change it. I say don't even worry about no damn name brands. Who cares about the name brand? You could call this shit George Moriel t-shirts. Ain't nobody buying the t-shirt because of your name brand. They're buying it for the design. Like my t-shirts that I sell, like this one right here that says South Bay, has my dumbass logo inside there that says Big Brando. Nobody's buying this shirt because of Big Brando. They're buying it because the shit says South Bay, and on the back it says the vibes are higher in the South Bay. That's all they're buying it for. They're not buying it for the brand name. So if brand names are what's holding you back, you're putting your focus into the wrong place. Focus on selling the t-shirt, focus on the design of the t-shirt, and focus on actually getting into that niche like you already have a target audience. Focus on them instead of the name brand. Like I said, this could be called George t-shirts. Nobody cares. All they care about is what the actual design on the t-shirt says. That's Don't put too much thought into the brand name and all that stuff, man. Nobody cares about that shit. Trust me. Appreciate the info over the years. James Ayers, thanks for watching. Had to hit AS Color will call today. Was a long drive this time. Yeah, man. I get it. What's the most budget way to test designs to see what people like? Vinyl cutter, vinyl. Easiest way. I do that shit till this day, man. I have a cheap, I don't want to say it cheap. I have a Crafters vinyl cutter. I use a Cameo cutter. I use regular vinyl. I have this dumb design right here that says South Bay. I'll cut it out on vinyl first. Press it on the shirt, wear it around, test the shit out. It's only costing me a few cents in vinyl and a blank t-shirt, and that's it. Can't beat that. You cannot beat that. It's been a while since I watched Ride Beats, but that dude's a hustler. Ride Beats is dope. If you want to learn how to like run an actual print shop from home, you want to see some dope ass DJ sets, you want to fucking see him work on cars, all that stuff. Ride Beats channel is dope as hell to me, man. I've always enjoyed watching that dude's content because like the shit's organized like a fucking TV show. It's like season 4, episode whatever, and he just shows everything he's doing. I'm printing these shirts, I'm embroidering these hats. I think he just got another embroidery machine. He's showing himself screen printing, DTG, DTF, printing stuff. That dude's showing it all. I think it's dope, man. Speaking of PVC, what software is used to make PVC 3D patches, and do you know a good vendor for Velcro patches? That I know nothing about. Cornbread. I know nothing about PVC. I know nothing about those patches, creating those patches. If I had to guess, they're probably using some kind of CAD drawing software to like 3D model the shit. But I don't know the software, or I don't know who makes them or anything like that. Whoever else was talking about PVC, help out the homie Cornbread. Okay. Let me see. Just pressed all my samples from Transfer Express and Supercolor. I'm super impressed. Next month, I'll be getting my business license, my LLC, website, and Adobe subscription. I'm ready to rock and roll. Justin, get that money, man. That's what I'm talking about. Samples, test them all out, see what works for you, see what you like, see what you don't like, and then from there, you just keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean? I saw the video on the mouse pads. I need to work on pressure and heat temp for different hats. Yeah. I stay away from doing acrylic hats. So majority of like the regular 6-panel, like snapbacks, fitted hats, those are usually acrylic and wool. They do horrible under the heat. So if you are going to do that, I would try to look for cotton polyester blend hats. That'll make your life a little bit easier. Those operate well under the heat, but when you put too much heat on the acrylic hats, it warps the hat, makes them all weird. Rufino, what's happening? What's happening? In the beginning of starting a custom shirt business, would it be okay to ask for a 50% down payment on jobs until the business gets rolling? I do that all the time. If I'm taking in any job, I always take a deposit every single time. Sometimes 50%, it's just enough for me to cover buying the blank t-shirts and the transfers. That's all. Usually that's what it is before I like say, all right, I'm going to fucking do this job. I ask for half of it up front and be like, all right, pay the other half on delivery or when you pick it up. That way I'm using their money. I'm playing with their money basically. They're giving me 50% of whatever the cost is going to be. I take it, I buy the blank t-shirts, buy the transfers, get the ball rolling on their dime. You know what I mean? So that way you don't have to eat the cost of like the customer backing out last minute. Like, I don't need those t-shirts and you already printed up like 75 of them. Hell no. I always take 50%. If it's a customer that you've been dealing with for a long time, 20, 25% is not bad, but 50% is a normal thing. Let me see. DTG is hit and miss till you find the right transfer company. Shit works, man. Lots of work to maintain printers. It is, man. Maintaining the printers sucks. I'll tell you that. If you want to get into the shit to be a printer mechanic, by all means go for it. But like my partner and the homie Dave from Local Roots, that dude is savvy enough to know, like, before we get into DTG, let me build one from scratch so I know the ins and outs of the shit. Like that's how he, like, when we got into it, he was building those shits, like converting printers all the way to like building like fucking full on casing, everything for the printers. So in case something goes wrong, he knows how to fucking fix it. And he was just putting me on like, all right, this is what this is how this works. Easy call, you know what I mean? And at that time, this is like early DTG days where majority of the DTG printers and print heads printed best on ring spun cotton t-shirts. See, a lot of people are part of like the new wave of DTG where it'll print on anything, but back then you can only use ring spun cotton t-shirts because the fibers laid down better. It was just easier to print on. You got a better vibrant print. But that's how long ago we've been doing this shit. When I do caps, I use DTF, HTV, sublimation, and patches. Hell yeah, those are all things I've used on hats too. Does AS Color staple tees maintain color after wash? They do maintain the color after the wash, but they do shrink a little bit. The basic tee and the staple tee, I notice, have the most shrinkage when it comes to t-shirts. The AS Color t-shirts, but they do hold their color. Like I haven't, like this is an AS Color classic shirt, and this, fuck man, I've had this shirt fucking forever, for years, and I've washed it, I've used it a bunch of times, and it still looks black. That Omni print cheetah for 120K. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. The one above all, what's up, Big B? Thanks for keeping the 1,000. Not a problem, man. Shady business, in my opinion. I think it is. You know what I mean? If we're talking about those old DTG printers, was like used car salesmen. They was selling everybody the dream at the trade shows. You know what I mean? And it was coming up because a lot of people were falling for the shit. But you know, when it came down to like maintaining the machine or actually making money with the machine, they wasn't helping nobody. You know what I mean? Since I started with vinyl, I still love it. Even the weeding. Yeah, for me, I hate weeding, but I do it when I have to. You know what I mean? Shellback, what's going down? How do you feel about print on demand? I've always been iffy about print on demand because, like, if you're running a clothing brand, it's hard to put the quality control into somebody else's hands when it's your brand because it's your name attached to it, right? And I say this because when I used to do the boxing sessions, like when people would send me their shirts and I would unbox it and review it and critique it and stuff like that, some people would send me the shit from their print on demand companies and the print would be like right here, like right up on the collar, or it would be crooked. And I'd show them on video and be like, yo, man, like, just to let you know, this is how the t-shirt arrived to the house. Like, this is what I received. Is this supposed to look like this? I'm like, nah, the print's supposed to be smaller or it's supposed to look like this. You got to remember there's somebody running one of those DTG printers and they're just printing the orders out. They don't give a fuck. They just print the shit out, print it, send it off, and that's it. So you won't know that that's what the quality of the shirt or print looks like until you get a complaint. And to me, that's like, I don't want to leave that up to chance and just be like, all right, I hope this company does right by me. So that's why I've always stayed away from the print on demand stuff. If you don't really care about quality and you just trying to, like, if you're moving units and you're not really focused on that, you're just trying to move designs and you know, volume is a big thing for you, then go for it. You know what I mean? But if you're running like a business that has your name attached to it, and and you're trying to really put something out, that's the hard part. You know what I mean? I'm not saying all print on demand companies are like that and careless, but I have seen a good amount of them come through to me, and I see that the shit's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? What's the monthly payment look like on a Racoma like yours? It's hard to say, man, because I paid my shit off like in 6 months. That's how fast money was coming in. Less than 6 months, dog. Like, it's whatever you set up with them. You know what I mean? So, like, let's say the machine is like, I don't know, 12K, 15K, whatever one you pick, and then whatever your credit looks like, you set up the payments to fit you. But for myself, right when I got the machine and it was up and running, my whole machine was paid off quick, dog. Like the the money, like I was making so much, and I was baffled that I didn't get the machine sooner. I was like, because I was so scared of that price tag, but I had no idea it was just going to generate that much income for me. That the shit was wild. You know what I mean? So you have to set it up for whatever your budget allows. You know what I mean? That's the best way that I could explain it, is when you talk to the sales rep and you figure it out, like, all right, this is the machine I'm looking at, and they tell you the ins and outs of the machine. Once you start talking numbers, you have to see what figure, like, what really makes sense to you. I would say don't try to like shoot for the moon and be like, man, I need this big ass machine and blah blah blah. I wouldn't go that route, but I would go, if you're planning on getting into embroidery, what I would do is I would hit up a bunch of different embroidery companies that have similar machines, and then I would see what customer service is like, and then I would see what the maintenance and do you have access to technicians is like, and then the customer service to get you up and running, what that's like, and then the like troubleshooting maintenance for yourself. Like, are they going to give you some videos to learn how to use the shit? Because I know you're not going to sit there and read the instruction manual. So how are they going to help you get up and running? Those are the things that I would like really look into. That's what I did when I was looking for machines, and that's why I went with Racoma, because it checked the boxes for all of those things. Was customer service was dead on, because they were just more concerned with me getting up and running than them selling me the machine. I actually went to them asking for a way more expensive machine, and they talked me down to get the machine that I have, which was way cheaper than the one I was originally looking at. And that was because I just told them what I was planning on doing with it. And they were like, "Well, you don't need this one. Like, you'll be good with this one, and this one's cheaper. Like, this one right here will get you going. It's commercial grade, but it'll actually do everything that you're talking about you want to do." So because of that, that's why I went with them. But I'm not saying you have to go with them because of that. Like, I'm saying hit up every single company and then see what works for you. You know what I mean? Like, because what if like there's an embroidery company that's in your local town, and you don't even have to get it shipped, and you could just get the shit. You could go pick it up, or they could deliver it to your shop or to your house or whatever. So when it comes to that, especially like figuring out what the payments are going to look like, that's like saying like, hey, how much does your car cost? And they'd say, oh man, I pay like $900 a month, but you don't know the person's credit, you don't know anything. You know what I mean? You hear that number, you're like, oh, that's too much for me. But then you go and buy that same car, you got a better credit score, you have a bigger down payment, your situation's different than the other person's, your payment's going to look a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? So it's hard to answer that kind of stuff, because it comes with, hey, like, it's specific to you. You know what I mean? Hopefully I explained that correctly, but I would just hit them up and see what they offer you, and then see what it is. If it fits and it works for you, fucking go with it. You know what I mean? Fat Hat, what's going down? Rufino, I appreciate that, man. Stevie Steve, I appreciate that. Thank y'all. All right, I'm gonna try to bang through some of these other questions. So let's see. G6 Custom says we have a plug on a DTF printer setup. Let us know if you're in the market. There you go. Ohan, what is a good user-friendly site to use for new designers? Should I get Silhouette or Kittle or Adobe? I use Adobe, man. That's the industry standard. If you're going to learn one thing, learn the industry standard. That's what I say. They've been around forever. There's tons and tons of millions of videos on YouTube to learn the shit. Go with that. Let me see. Brando on the KK Customs webpage. If you hit the home link, it goes to an empty page. Yeah, my for that site, it's getting because I'm working on. I don't know if I already said this, but I'm working on actually starting like a few new brands, and I'm working on doing with a few people starting a big ass print shop. So a lot of that's going to be involved with that. So I haven't had time to like update my shit or anything like that. But thank you for that. Let me see. Bets Caesar HTV. Do you any good, or you have a different go-to when it comes to vinyl? For vinyl, I've been using Atlanta vinyl lately. I like them. I just use the standard regular shit. So that's usually what I'm looking at is like the regular standard heat transfer vinyls, like none of the specialty stuff or anything like that. I just buy black and white usually, but I've been using Atlanta vinyl lately. Shit's good. Any show like Impressions Expo, is this a type of thing where we can get samples while there? Yeah, hell yeah, Michael. So you could get like transfer companies are going to be there. So you could get sample packs from all the different transfer companies. You could touch and feel all the t-shirts. Some booths give out t-shirts. They'll let you press the t-shirts and keep the t-shirts. Um, but yeah, this is a perfect place to get samples. So bring a backpack and then just load that bitch up. Rufino said, "You always keep it real and we can learn from that." Hell yeah, appreciate that. Are you going tomorrow to the Graphics Pro Expo? I won't be there, but G6 Customs will be there. I won't be there. I'll be out of town. Sorry. Let me see. We're planning a trip to LB for the Impressions Expo. Definitely need to meet up. Hell yeah. I'm there every Impressions Expo in Long Beach. I'm there hanging out, drinking beer, cruising around. I'm just in the mix, man. Like when I go there, I don't got no obligations. You're not gonna see me at no at the booths or anything like that. I'm amongst the crowd like you guys, man. Cruise around, I drink beers, I say what's up to people, I look at samples, I stop in the booths and check the shit out just like y'all, man. Majority of the people that I do meet, it's from just cruising around. You know, I'm cruising the trade floor just like everybody else. No agenda. I just be out there. I go with my camera, but I rarely record shit because I'm in the moment just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Tech stuff and maintenance takes a lot of your time. Hell yeah, it does. When we're talking these printers, shit sucks. I just launched my new brand, Daily Income. How does that name sound to you? Just dropped the website. Sounds dope, man. Daily Income. If we talking money, we talking money. You know what I mean? Get that shit. I always read the reviews on an item. Yeah, man, I'm big on reading reviews too. Even if like I'm buying a refrigerator, I'm gonna do every piece of like research I can. Rufino said Racoma has great cut. They do, man. That's what sold me on the machine. Was the customer service was top tier for myself. What are your thoughts on leather patches on caps? I can get all the scrap leather I need from a local saddle shop. I just need to spring for a laser engraver to get in business. Hell yeah, that shit works. I see people selling like leather patches on hats all day long. Jump on one of those laser engravers and get to it, man. You ever try to embroider on a t-shirt, and which brand that holds the stitches the best? I do a lot on sweatshirts, and that's my number one selling on all my vendor events. I've done t-shirts in the past. I've always went with the heavyweight t-shirts. Pro Club and Shockaware were the two heavyweight t-shirts that I always embroidered on. I didn't make too much money on that, like selling my own branded stuff, embroidered t-shirts. I just mainly do hats. Like 95 to 98% of the time, my machine only does hats. I've done polos in the past, golf polos. I've done regular polos, but that's about it. But t-shirts, not so much. Like I just use heavyweight, Pro Club heavyweight and Shockaware Max heavyweight. We Shellback here. Oh shit, Simply Anchored. Shellback, what's happening? You suggest the Racoma Creator. I love to get the 1501, but not sure if I should go big or start small. But the thing is, I take the digitizer that comes with the 1501. I'm not too familiar with the Creator machine, um, so I can't say yeah, get that one. I would ask the Racoma rep to compare the two, so you could and maybe I'm dumb, or maybe I just asked too many questions. But when I was in the market for an embroidery machine, I was dumb honest with the Racoma sales team, and I was just like, look, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do fucking puff hats, like 3D puff on hats for myself. This is majority of the colors in the hats that I'm doing. This is my plan with the machine, to stitch hats for other people, but also stitch hats for myself. Um, and they were able to like be like, nah, this machine's not for you, but this one is, or look at these three machines right here as options, and then they'll break them down, compare them for you, all that good stuff. They'll do all the shit for you, and don't feel like just because you're talking to them you got to buy from them, or they're trying to sell you some shit. All you're doing is getting information, you know what I mean? There's no obligation to the shit. So, and I found this out once I was like, you know, talking about machines and stuff like that. I used to work in a print shop, like a repro graphics print shop, and talking to Xerox on big printers. And this is back when like the Xerox 1000 was a big deal. Spot varnish was a big deal at that time. Talking to these companies and understanding exactly what you're getting into, they're there to answer every question for you. They're not just there to sell you the machine. They're there to answer the questions. So I always say, like, make these companies work for your money. Like, if you have a laundry list of questions to ask an embroidery company, ask every single question before you make your mind up about some shit. Don't feel like, oh, I'm a novice in the shit, I don't want them to look at me. If you're a novice in the shit, you're a novice. You're brand new to the shit. Tell them, I've never embroidered a day in my life. I've never sewn a day in my. I've never threaded a fucking needle. Tell them the shit so they understand what, like, how to talk to you. You know what I mean? Because if they just start throwing around a bunch of embroidery terms at you, and you're pretending to be somebody you're really not, they're going to talk all over you. But if you tell them straight up and down, like, yo, I don't know shit about embroidery. I'm trying to get into this space to make some money, but I've never threaded a needle once. What's the best machine for me to get into if I wanted to do X, Y, and Z? And they'll tell you what they have to offer. You know what I mean? Don't feel dumb about it, and don't feel like pressured into like pretending. Man, I was completely honest, and I was just like, look, I don't know shit about sewing. I don't know nothing about anything. I've only outsourced embroidery, but I've never done it myself. What machine's going to help me get going fast? What machine's best to do hats? I need to know the needle sizes. I need to know the type of thread I need. They run all that shit down for you, man. So if you're thinking about the Creator or the MT1501 or whatever it is, have them compare all of those shits. Like, what's the difference in this? What's the difference in this? This is what I'm trying to do. Is this going to be good for that? Make them work for the shit. You know what I mean? Embroidery machines are selling cheap on Facebook Marketplace. The hard part about buying used, and I just found out about this shit, is a lot of times these machines, like, let's say you're buying a 15 head machine, I mean a 15 needle machine. A batch of the needles, like let's say like 5 out of the 15 don't work, or let's say 5 work and 10 don't. And when they show you like, oh, this is the machine working, they're going to show you the needles that do work, and they're not going to show you the ones that don't work until you get home, and then you find out the shit's fucked up, and then it's out of warranty, and then you got to fix it yourself. I've heard a ton of horror stories about that kind of shit, because people are, you know, they give up on the dream, and they don't want to use the machine no more, or the machine's broke and they're just trying to dump it on somebody else. So they're selling it for dumb cheap. I just heard a few really bad stories about people buying used machines on OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace, and then the shit just end up being a lemon. You know what I mean? Have you ever tried Kittle for making designs? No, I have not. I only use Adobe products like Photoshop and Illustrator. That's what I learned on. So I had no need to like use Canva or Kittle or any of these other softwares out there, because I kind of have my own process down already. What just blew my mind in Adobe Illustrator graphic plugins? Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Will your new business venture include doing artwork and or gang sheets? Not too much graphic design. It'll be mainly production stuff. So people wanting to get embroidery done, screen printing done, transfers, shit like that. It'll be basically that. If I'm buying individual DTF transfers from Jiffy shirts for $20 and T-shirts for $5, is it reasonable to sell a T-shirt for $50? I would probably try to find increase your margins a little bit better. $20 for a transfer seems pretty crazy. You know what I mean? I would try to get that cost down a little bit. So what I would probably try to do, like if you want to sell a shirt for $50, you sell it for $50. I'm not saying to shortchange yourself, but as a business owner, your job is to always try to increase your margins any way possible. Doesn't matter if you run a restaurant, a bar, clothing brand, if you're whatever you're selling, it's always trying to get your profits. Your profit margin has to be beneficial for you in order to run your business. So if you're buying transfers for $20, you should look at some other transfer companies to try to get your costs down. You know what I mean? That way you could lower your costs and still make a really good profit. 100% felt that answer. I love to ask questions because I always say knowledge is potential power. Thanks for the in-depth answer. Yeah, not a problem, man. Like the only reason I say ask all your questions to like sales reps and stuff like that and make them work for your money. One, it's because you're going to hear it firsthand from them. But then two, it's going to give you a better idea on what else is out there. If you're just looking at those two machines and you ask them about those two machines, they might throw in 3 or 4 other machines to look at and potentially might fit your needs a little bit better too. You know what I mean? When you start selling gang sheets and transfers, I'm supporting. I appreciate that, man. But I gave up the dream of printing DTF transfers and stuff like that because you kind of just become a slave to that machine, right? Like I like selling T-shirts. So that's what I do is I slang T-shirts. When I was printing transfers, the idea was no brainer. Sell transfers to people that watch my channel because obviously I have a built-in demographic already. But if I did that, then I would no longer be selling T-shirts because I'd be sitting there running that printer to get your guys' transfer orders out. And to me, that's not fun. There's good money in it, but it's not always about the money for myself. For me, I want to do some shit that I like. And, sitting there running a machine printing transfers isn't something that I currently want to do. I like selling T-shirts. I like selling bullshit like this to people in the South Bay. You know what I mean? Like that to me is where my head's at. You know what I mean? So, but I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. You know what I mean? If I can't find a way to have somebody run the DTF printer for me and I sell the transfers, then, we might have something there, but we'll see how that works out. Appreciate that though. Whenever you do custom work, do you charge for making the design? Hell yeah, I charge for all my time, my design time, my consultation time, my pressing time. All of that time is charged to the customer in whole. That to me is, that's taken away from whatever you can be doing. So that's why I charge labor for everything that I do. Everything. If the shit takes me 13 hours to design, I'm charging the customer 13 hours. They have to know what comes with that kind of shit. You know what I mean? I wish you the best of luck on your new business. I hope you will still have time to have Tuesday chat. Oh shit, this shit don't stop, man. The way that I'm trying to formulate these businesses now is just because I have a little bit extra time. That's why there was years that I didn't live stream, and I used to live stream almost every day before. And then once things started to get busy, I kind of stopped live streaming, but now I'm at a place where I have time to live stream again. You know what I mean? That's why I do this shit. Threaded headwear, what's going down? I'm gonna give you your flowers while I can. You're amazing. Teaching style is one of one, and I pray God blesses you. Everyone is charging, and you are blessing. Appreciate that. Bohan Bima, I think that's your name. Thank you for that. 100%, man. Like these live streams is just so I could try to answer questions for people. That's all it is. I might not have the best answers, but I'm gonna try to help you guys out. Did that for a year and made my own transfers. That ish is for the birds. Too much work and worry about the print heads clogging. Nah, man, I'm Gucci. That's exactly how it is, man. It's for some people. You know what I mean? If some people don't give a shit about selling T-shirts and they just want to sell the transfers, by all means, you sell the shit out of those transfers because there's people like us that could benefit from that. But when it comes to like actually selling the, running the machines and all that, that shit is it's hard work, man. What's the next event that I'm gonna be vending at? I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to get into the Holo Holo Fest. It's a Hawaiian festival. That one is not free. That one's one you got to pay for. It's a concert. That's why. Um, yeah, we'll see. Usually around the getting closer to the holidays, I kind of stay focused on the store and open the store more to get more people to come into the store and shop. So we'll see that. With the reseller license, how much do the AS color shirts cost? There's different pricing tiers, so it all depends on what your needs are. So it's hard to say like, yeah, if you go there, this is what the shit costs. For example, like the AS Color Classic, off the top of my head, the tier that I'm on, I think it's like $7 or $8, something like that, for the AS Color Classic. For the block shirt, I want to say it's like 3 something, 360 maybe. I might be wrong, but and then the heavy fade shirt, 10 or $11 probably. That's my guess. That's my guess. But yeah, like if you look at just their site now, I think the AS Color Classic shirt retails at like $27 or some shit like that, maybe even more. But yeah, wholesale's a different ball game. That's what I say when friends and family ask me why I don't have a DTF or DTG printer. I ain't trying to deal with that shit. Yeah, man, it's a pain in the ass, man. And majority of the people that own those printers that are on YouTube won't talk about that kind of shit on how much of a pain in the ass that shit is until months and months from then when the shit just fucking doesn't work and people start saying, hey, how come you're not using that DTG printer no more? Then you hear them like, man, the fucking print head died months ago and it cost so much to get a new one. This shit is a pain in the ass, man. What are your favorite hats to press on? And do you do foam or just snapbacks 5 and 6 men? If I do foam truckers, I like the AS Color foam frame hat. If I do regular 5-panel hats, camper hats, I'll do AS Color has a few good ones. Otto has some good ones. Yupong has good 5-panel campers. And then if I'm doing like just straight, not foam trucker hats, the AS Color frame hats are dope, like the regular frame hats. The Yupong 5-panel cotton poly hat's dope, and the 6-panel trucker hat cotton poly from Otto's dope too. Those ones are all pressed well. They fit the press pretty good. Customers like those types of hats. I was looking at the retail price and was kind of put back. Yeah, I never buy anything retail. I usually, if you have your reseller permit, open accounts with people, man. I open them up with a bunch of different companies, just to have options. You know what I mean? ADub is the only one I see that shows all the problems with different machines. Hell yeah, ADub is in depth when it comes to like the content that he puts out about the shit he does. The one thing that always kind of like trips me out or impresses me really is when I got into embroidery, I was watching his videos. But sometimes he does these big ass embroidery pieces. Like the shit will be like fucking 15 inches by like 12. Like it's a big, detailed fucking Philadelphia Eagle football player with a fucking bird head. Shit's like fucking 12, 13 different colors, and it's so big, and he'll stitch that whole thing through. Man, I'm like, yo, I don't have the patience for that for one, but his shit looks crispy clean. And A-Dub's his when I look at people's content, when I watch people's content, I look at production value. Like I know A-Dub's using a good ass camera to fucking record his shit. His shit always looks crispy clean. His shit's dialed in. I fuck with him, man. A-Dub's a solid dude. But you're right, he does show that shit, man. I've never used TKO ever, Lewis. I've never used them for anything that I've done. I've seen them at the trade show this past year. Yeah, in January. I stopped at the TKO booth, but I've never used them for anything retail, or I've never used their transfers before. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I just haven't had a need to use them. I love hood Asians. Damn. Let's see. Found a good company that makes my transfers here on the West or on the East Coast. Hell yeah. That's usually how I buy transfers is I look geographically how close are the people to me, how, where's the shit at, how fast can I get the shit in my hands. That's usually like my go-to every single time when I'm buying transfers is how fast can I get it? Can I just drive and pick it up? That's why I use Super Color. Like they're in Hawthorne. When they were in Gardena, it was like literally a minute away from me where I could pick the shit up. But when they moved to Hawthorne, it's like a 5-minute drive, but it's still quick for me to pick up my orders when they're ready. Same thing with AS Color. They're in Carson, which is 5-7 minute drive for me. I could drive and pick up my order same day. It's not that they're giving me any special treatment because I'm Big Brando. I do everything through my print shop name. So when I go to pick shit up, I'm telling them my print shop's name, picking up my order. But if I place it in the morning, most of the time the shit's ready by the afternoon. So that's why I usually go that route. But then same thing, like I was using Shaka. Shaka's in LA. They're off of Jefferson, which is a quick little drive for me. When I was using Decky hats, Decky's in Compton right off the 91. So I would use Decky hats because they're accessible and local to me. Like I could just pick the shit up. That's how I source my blanks, my transfers, everything I use. I try to go as local as possible. So that way I'm cheap. I don't have to pay for shipping and freight or anything like that. I can just place a will call order and pick the shit up. Smart Blank is in Anaheim. All Style used to be in Anaheim. SNS Activewear used to be in Santa Fe Springs until they moved to Reno. Like the shit's just close. I try to find the shit that's close to me to get shit quicker. You know what I mean? When doing new sub brands, should I start them under the business LLC umbrella or do a new DBA for each new sub brand under the business? That is 100% up to you, man. I can't give you any advice on that because I don't know how your business is set up. So it just depends on what makes sense to you. A lot of people do this is they start something, shit's not working, then they're like trying to just start smaller brands underneath the umbrella brand. But if you're having a hard time getting the first brand off the ground, you got to try to reevaluate yourself for that. If that shit's already booming and it's operating and sustainable and you're trying to do some passion projects, by all means, that's how you'll figure out what makes sense. Do you keep it under the umbrella? Do you start something new? You'll figure that part out on your own as you're going along. So I can't answer that for you because I'm not I don't know the inner workings of your business. You know what I mean? Damn, everything is South Bay or South LA. No love for the SFV people. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, this isn't really SFV. This is more IE, but Otto's out in Ontario. That's the only one that's far for me to go pick up. Like, All Style for a while, they were in like Riverside, also in the IE. When they left Anaheim, they went there, and then once they sold, I don't know where they went. But yeah, I don't know too much stuff out in the Valley. Majority of the stuff is in LA, Fashion District, and then south of the Fashion District, which obviously comes down to the South Bay and towards my area. Can I print designs on vinyl straight from Photoshop, or do I have to use Illustrator also? If you're like cutting the shit on vinyl, you're gonna have to use like whatever your vinyl cutting software is, because some of those cutters have proprietary softwares to put the cut lines in and stuff like that. So you could like design shit in Photoshop, save it as a PNG, put it into your cut software, and then trace it on there. Or you could just save the Illustrator SVG straight to the cut software. I want to support you. Could I email you my design and get you to send me a hat or a tee embroidered. I live in Atlanta or maybe in NC when you ship, if possible. I don't print for other people or embroider for anybody. I just do my own shit. Um, like if you went to bigbrando.com, you can see all the shit that I sell. But I don't do like, I don't stitch for other people or print for other people anymore. I just don't have any time to do that. Alan, he does get into so many great adventures. Yeah, man. Summertime in the SFV banger. There you go, man. There you go. But I appreciate you wanting to support, man. The support is just watching the videos. You know what I mean? If you ever wanted, like, the shit that I sell isn't catered to everybody. Like the shit I sell is catered to like a fucking small audience. You know what I mean? I'm making shit for the LA. I'm making shit for like people that live in the South Bay because that's where my retail store's at. Um, so you know what I mean? Cool. I'm gonna buy your LA hat. Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. I ride bikes and motorcycles. I drink beer. I go to breweries. I eat tacos. It's mainly what I do for fun. What are some good places to check out in LB when we come out in January? Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is down there. Um, Downtown Long Beach got a bunch of shit going on. The aquarium's down there. The Pike is down there. Right outside of Long Beach. Um, there's all kind of shit towards San Pedro, towards Torrance, towards the beach areas. There's all kind of like stuff that's out in Long Beach. You know what I mean? Strong Beach. That's right. There's a lot of stuff that's out there. It just all depends on what you're looking at. There's breweries and restaurants all over the place. Are the West Side shirts on AS Color Blank shit? Not yet. They're right now. It's the rest of the Shockaware stuff. Once that stock is depleted and gone, everything will be on AS Color Block shirts. But for right now, the stuff that's in store and online right now, the stock that I still have left is all Shockaware active t-shirts. But like I said, once all that stuff's gone, then everything will be AS Color Block. That's the only problem with transitioning from blank t-shirt to blank t-shirt, and I try to do it as least amount of times as possible, is there's a weird transition of getting rid of old stock and then bringing in the new stuff. And we're in that transition period right now. So like next time I open the store or next time I'm gonna be at the store, everything that's going to be sold in there is going to be Shockaware until that shit sells out. And then once that shit's gone, then everything gets printed on AS Color from there on out. And then by that time, like I'll probably drop new colorways of the West Side shirts and stuff like that. And also, obviously, every time I open the store, we drop new products. So that'll be the plan. I've heard of Made Blanks. I've just never used them before, but I've heard of them. I've seen them at the trade shows, but I've never used any of their stuff. The one blank company that reached out to me to come check out their shit was Action. Oh no, AXISM. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but they have I think they have a showroom in Cerritos or Cypress or something like that. They hit me up and asked me if I wanted to come out and check out their shit. I remember seeing them at the trade show, so I'll go check them out. Was watching a Money Merch YouTube video, and they were at T Style Factory. And I swear I heard that the owner of T Style was the original maker of the 1301, and he now makes it in T Style. Yeah, I heard the same exact thing, man. I heard the same exact thing. I guess like it was like a family business. All Style was a family business, and that's somebody from the family that's running T Style now or something like that. But what I have heard is the people that do use T Style is the shit's so popular they can't keep the shit in stock. So people are having a hard time getting certain colors and sizes in hand because it's all sold out, which is a good problem to have. You know what I mean? But a bad problem for the business owners like us. Good problem for them, bad problem for us. Sammy H, I got the black and yellow West Side shirt last week. Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Sammy H. When you send your designs to Supercolor, do you send it as SVG or PNGs? Does it matter? I usually usually send either a PNG or I usually send just a straight up Photoshop file directly to them. I don't know if that makes sense, but because they could open up Photoshop and they could do it, I usually flatten the image, like flatten all the layers down, and then send it to them. But I don't send SVGs, PNGs, and then if I send Illustrator files, then they're going to be AI files or Adobe Illustrator files, vectors. Usually, that's how the single color stuff I do is AI files or Illustrator vector files. All right, man. If anybody else got any more questions, man, we did like an hour, 30 minutes. Appreciate everybody for jumping on and even watching this long, man. Talked a lot of shit. Got a lot of questions answered. I think most of you guys know this, but every Tuesday I do this. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I go live, and then this shit lives on YouTube forever. So you could go back and rewatch it on YouTube and see it. So I appreciate everybody for jumping on and even watching. And chiming in, asking questions, and answering questions for the people too. So shout out to everybody that jumped on today, man. Really appreciate it. New videos coming out. I drop videos Mondays and Thursdays at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And then if not, I just do like fucking little small videos on Instagram and TikTok, man. You could check those shits out too. Appreciate you guys for even watching, jumping on, hanging out with me Tuesday night. Catch you guys on the next one, man. Peace.